Islam. First, I give praises to the great God Allah and honor to our Prophet Noble Joali. And I would like to welcome you to our new season of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. My name is Sister S. Johnson-Eel, and I am a member of Temple 71 in Washington, D.C.
Islam, Sister N. Greer-Eel, Temple 71, Washington, D.C.
Islam, I'm Sister A. Ravenel Bay from Temple number 21, Brooklyn, New York, but live in Oakland, California. And for those that know, Happy New Year's, Happy Moorish New Year's. And Moorish New Year's, for those that don't know, after the Prophet's birthday, 7 days after, we honor the Prophet's coming with the Moorish New Year.
Islam, I'm Sister Elberry Bay in Temple 34, Brooklyn, New York. Welcome. Peace and love.
Islam, my name is Sister T. Hopkins Bay, coming out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Temple number 11. Islam.
Islam, I'm Sister T. Britt Bay from Temple 71, Washington, D.C. And so today's topic is celebrating life. And if you only just think back over your life for a second, I'm sure you can find many reasons as to why you should be celebrating life today. So we thank you and welcome you for joining us.
Okay, well, I'm gonna kick it off, sisters. Islam.
Islam.
Okay, well, I'm gonna kick off the question. We just celebrated Prophet's birthday, so I am just curious to learn from all of you. How did you celebrate the Prophet's birthday?
Islam. So I celebrated the Prophet's birthday at Temple 34 in Brooklyn, New York. We had what you call a red flying carpet that went from state to state. And you had the Moors come out, they gave positive, uplifting words. I was in awe. So I was very happy to actually be a part of that memorable moment shared across the nation. It was love, it was unity, and I look forward to doing it again. That's celebrating life, that's real. Peace.
Thank you.
Islam. I celebrated at Temple number 71 in Washington, D.C. And I was actually, what we did was we had the Moors come out, do like a drive-by, and we handed out dinners. Some stayed around, socialized outside. We did live videotaping throughout the day. The Grand Sheik was videotaping so that other temples around the world were able to see how we were celebrating. And I was downstairs serving. I was downstairs making a place. And let me tell you, so this was my first year actually really being involved. And although it wasn't the normal way that they celebrate, let me tell you, when I left there, I was on cloud 15. I had such a wonderful time. Of course, I worked close with some of the Moors that I only ever get to say Islam and peace to. I never get to really have conversation with them. So to be able to work side by side with them and doing something that was very uplifting, which was serving our people. That was real fun. You got to see different attitudes and personalities. So it was wonderful. And I got gifts. So that's how I celebrated. I really did. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of love and unity.
I have to ask though, you were talking about gifts when I talked to you before. Tell me one gift that you got that you don't mind sharing.
So one gift that I got was, it was a mug. It was a Moorish mug, coffee mug. So that was really, really nice. Yes.
Beautiful. Who else?
Islam. Praise Allah. Praise Allah for the prophet. Praise Allah for having a holiday of our own. Let me rise and give honors to the prophet. Praises to Allah first, honors to the prophet, and honors to the Moorish Temple of America, and honors to all of you. So we celebrated our holiday virtually, as far as connecting with our brothers and sisters from different states and different temples, as well as our own temple number 11. Praise Allah. This is very different for us because we're used to having a huge celebration every year. So it was different for us, but it was still a spiritual, joyous occasion. Just because the love of the prophet, the love of one another, it was a blessing. So I also got to, my children weren't expecting gifts because they were blessed through the year, but they got to receive some gifts, and they got to see what the Moors were doing across the country, which had an influence on them because they don't normally get to see that. So I thank Temple number 34 for instituting that. Grand Sheikh Brother Cyrus Ill, Brother Clendenin Bey, Sister Elberry Bey, and all the other Moors that had a hand in it. We're grateful to be able to connect with everyone else. That was a blessing. Peace.
Well, Islam. So I had the pleasure of, on the Prophet's birthday, of serving my fellow brothers and sisters virtually, as you know. So I had the opportunity of just having an opportunity to play a part into celebrating the Prophet's birthday with my brothers and sisters, and playing a role in assisting and helping my Moors be happy on the Prophet's birthday. I remember reading in the literature where it says the Prophet stated that he's most happy when his Moors are happy, and I never really understood it. And I remember Brother Kennard Bey always saying, "Well, I'm happy when the Moors are happy," and I'm like, "So what about you being happy?" And of course, you always want to make sure that only you can supply your own happiness, but that level of understanding comes at such a different degree. It's such selfishness that an individual and many of the Moors had on that day to provide a service, to take time out of their day to provide something to engage Moors and to ensure that the Prophet's word was heard across the world. And there's such a feeling that you get. Now I understand what the Prophet was saying. I'm happy when my Moors are happy. Because when you're doing such a selfish act of giving back and uplifting fallen humanity, you finally realize, like, what else is there to do on such a great occasion of that day? But, as we're taught, every day. So praise Allah.
Praise Allah. And thank you too, sis, for that amazing work, for doing that for all of us.
Islam. I too had the pleasure of going to that drive-by, and was happy that some of the Moors did not just drive by, that they actually parked and got out and gave elbows and Islam. And it was really good to be standing in front of my place of worship. We hadn't been there since March, and the praise Allah for the thought. I'm not sure who put the thought out there for the drive-by, but I'm so grateful for it, because I really needed that. I really needed to see my brothers and my sisters at our place of worship. Yeah, and I got a mug of the Prophet. It was my first mug of the Prophet, and I'm drinking some hot cocoa out of it. It was a really, really beautiful get together. It really was, and I'm glad I was able to get out of the house and go be with my brothers and sisters. Peace.
Praise Allah. So basically, this episode is going to be about celebrating life. And what we're trying to do is show you how the Prophet is teaching us how to celebrate our life. So we have developed a series of questions that we're going to basically create a dialogue around. We hope that you can add questions to the chat that we can incorporate in this discussion. And we hope that this conversation gives you a perspective of how are you celebrating your life. So Sister T. Hopkins Bay is going to kick us off with our first question. So here we go.
Praise Allah, Islam. So my question is, what changes have you made to your life for the greater good since the Prophet entered into your life? So if you want, I can start.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah. For me, so many changes had to occur. I would honestly say every change that I made was for the greater good. Just changing my thoughts. That was the major thing for me, because I think that, you know, your thoughts control everything else, you know, and the Prophet talks about that. And it's deep, because if you didn't know how your thoughts were directing you before, when you come to the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's definitely one thing that you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to think your condition could be better. Think, you know, about everything that you do in life and how it affects not only yourself, but your brothers and sisters. So I had to change friends who actually weren't friends. And that's something that a lot of us go through. You know, when you're on that path of spiritual growth, you're going to find out who your friends are. Not everybody's going to ride for you. But the thing about it is, when you're on that path, you have to know that you're basically trying to save yourself. You got to try to save yourself first. And then you're able to help and assist and possibly save someone else. And it could be just by wearing your turban with your button. It could be how your character is. Because I think a lot of times when you enter into the Moorish Science Temple of America and you end up, you know, changing from how you used to be, your character definitely goes through a change, regardless of how good you might have been before. It still won't go through a change, because now you're dealing with the Prophet's lessons. So for me, some family things had to change. I wasn't able to do what I used to do before. And not everybody's going to accept it, but you got to stand firm. We have to stand firm on our beliefs. So a lot of things for me changed, and every change that I made for myself personally was for the greater good. Peace.
Praise Allah. I think for me, it allowed me to start to make the connection of understanding myself, but understanding Father God Allah. And as you know, in the beginning of our Quran, it always says, know thyself and know thy Father God Allah. And in that, I started how to understand, like, you need to stop playing the victim and understand that you are the creator, and everything that happens around you is basically built off of your thoughts. Whether you act them out or not, they're basically reflexes based on how you think. And if you don't control the way you think, then you're going to create either a heaven for yourself, or you're going to create a hell. So the changes that I decided to make is starting to make the connection with him. Like, I literally started saying, well, I'm just going to talk to you, because I haven't realized that I don't know. But I really had to find ways to calm myself to listen to him. And these are the things that I've been in the temple for about 8 years, but these are the things that I just literally started to truly incorporate it in my life just this year, because you start to get so hungry for a better condition that you're just like, I'm willing to do anything. I did all this stuff before, and there's going to be some changes I'm going to have to make. Just like you said, to top and take. Yes, there are going to be some people that I got to let go, because I got to clear my mind. I got to let some of the noises, they got to go somewhere. And sometimes they're connected to things, connected to people, and they're connected to things that you used to do. But when you want to be close to Allah, the sacrifice is beautiful. And I heard this song the other day, and it was talking about being gracefully broken was the song. And it just brought tears to my eyes, thinking that the Prophet is doing that to us. We have been in the world incorporating all these thoughts and these ways of life, and finally realizing that we don't have to be miserable. We don't have to be inconstant. We don't have to be vain or any of these things that don't bring us any good. But you got to break away and you got to turn away from sin and strive for purity in life. And there's pain in that. You cry, I cry, there's tears, but it's graceful because he's like, I'm not going to give you too much. If you want to change, here's the book, open it up. I'm gonna tell you what it says. This movement is beautiful. And if you really, the changes when you really put in that labor and you see how, not saying you're gonna be fully perfected, but how perfected you can become and what that glow and that aura looks like, to a certain extent, it kind of becomes addictive. Like you want more and you want to share it. You want to tell everybody like, man, you got to try it. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was just the change I had to make was let some things go and make the connection, which really boils down to turning away from sin and striving for purity in life. But then also understanding that sin isn't just in the action, it's in the wish and desire. Because I was like, there's some things I just don't do. But I'm like, but you think about it. And so then you're like, well, I got to change the way I think. So that was just, walking off what you just said. So, yeah.
Islam. Mm-hmm. I think I'm not going to take too much time because I think the thought is there with you. I'm with you, sis. I think about in the Quran, it says submission to obedience is a study of her life. And, we submit our hope of Allah. And so when you have to make that submission to Allah and be obedient to him and what he's telling you, it might be painful sometimes, right? And you might have to make some different decisions, but you also will realize it also says, we're in accord with it and it'll feel good to you. It'll start to feel good to you. You may, what you think is good to you really isn't good. So I would say on your same thought, I think that to the question, what changes have I made in my life? I think it's continually focusing on continual unfoldment, as man unfolds, as God unfolds, submitting myself to the will of Allah and being obedient, because if I do that, he opens a path for you. So what you got to worry about, right? Peace.
You already know. Yeah. How about you, Sister Britt Bay?
Islam.
Islam.
So can you repeat the question for me again, please?
Of course. What changes have you made in your life for the greater good since the prophet has entered into your life?
Oh, wow. Yes. One change I definitely have made is my sincerity and my approach to change. Definitely, I can look back prior to me coming into the movement. I can look back and I can see where I really don't want to use the word played with it, but I kind of didn't take it as serious as I do now. I think when I came into the temple and I started hearing about how I create my own condition through thought, and then I started learning, well, how's that so? Well, man is a thought of Allah. So, and then I was also told, and this is all in chapter 1, that the same attributes I have within me.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. That was like powerful to me. So when I look back on just a lot of things I've gone through in life, whether it was good, whether it was bad, and I think in terms of the end result being just from the way I would think. And so even since I've been in the movement, I've had some situations, I've had some experiences, and I can clearly see that. And that just changed my perspective when it came to Allah, to take him more seriously, to take my walk and my relationship with Allah more seriously. And It's like I'm just more sincere in what I ask, and when I'm speaking with him, when I'm communicating with him, I'm more sincere about what it is I'm asking of him when it comes to me developing my thought process, when it comes to me making the necessary changes that needs to be made. I have to keep in mind, you all have told me that I am truth and false. I mean, not you all, but the prophet has told me that I am truth and falsehood strangely mixed. And even dissecting that and understanding and realizing why, understanding why I do or I think the way that I do. So I would have to say the change would be my sincerity towards my walk and my relationship with Allah. Peace.
Praise Allah. So that kind of leads us to the next question that we have out here. And as you all know, we're all part of the Moorish Science Temple America Incorporated. So with that being said, that, you know, in the Moorish Science Temple America, it is said that if you can think your conditions can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America. So before you joined, what conditions, if any, did you think or do you think could be better?
Islam.
Islam, Sister Great Ale.
Islam. And let me just say that you all sisters are looking morally fabulous. Islam.
Thank you. Praise Allah.
I am so proud to be connected to you all. So for me, well, I'll just share a little bit if I can. I am in recovery, recovering from self-destruction. And at the time, I think I had about 5 years free of self-destruction. And I felt like I was still in the streets. And I was like, there's no way in the world I have accomplished these things in my life, cleaned up my act for the most part at that time. You know, I'm working, I'm a productive member of society, but I was in a situation that had me at a low point. Like I was feeling low, and I was like, man, I know it's got to be something better than this. And I was just visiting the temple on a regular every Friday, every Sunday, every Friday, every Sunday. And every Friday and every Sunday, I kept hearing that same statement. If you think your conditions can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I was like, you know what? This got to be better than what I'm getting out there. So I examined with care. I didn't just jump head in. I attended meetings for months before I joined, and I said, you know, it's too good. This is too good to turn away from it. You know, there was some things in my mind that I thought were gonna hinder me from joining, but I said, you know what, bump that. I got to do this. This feels too good. I mean, the feeling of what I was feeling and still feel when I just knowing that I'm a part of such awesome movement, compared to almost the birth of my children or going into recovery. It felt like that kind of good. And I wanted more of it, so I joined. Peace.
How about you, Sister Elberry Bay?
Islam. I am loving this segment because we can relate to each other demonstrations. But for me, I think about with that question, I think about how we didn't have a sense of identity. And when you have a sense of belonging, you have that feeling, knowing who you are, what your nationality is, how to worship under your own vine and fig tree. Those things used to bother me as a young girl coming up. Like I grew up in church, but it wasn't enough answers. Like I'm asking, who am I? What is Black? I never really believed that. I used to teach my children they were Aborigine, just to find a sense of belonging. So to meet the prophet In Act 3, it says, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced. So I begin to proclaim. I proclaim my nationality. I proclaim the principles, the 5 highest principles known to man, and I begin to practice. I understood the seriousness on set and coming into the Moorish Science Temple of America because of my family experience. It was like a level up for us. You know, we were spiritually practicing what we know, but the prophet brought us everything that we can. He said, if you take what I gave you, can save the nation, take it and save yourself. So that's what I did. I took in the prophet. I welcomed his teachings. I opened my heart, and I allowed myself to be shown to my family. This is real. A prophet has returned in this day and time, because we measure time by cycle ages. So in this day and time, open your mind. And that's what I asked. And there's no pressure. We're not trying to recruit anybody, but I'm just trying to be that living example for my family and set new trends for them, because we have to release those teachings that we were used to. So for me, calling myself Black, I'm very happy to be a Moorish American Muslim. Discriminate against anyone. I don't make them feel like they're doing something wrong, but I definitely stand proud as a Moorish American Muslim. And yeah, you see me. I am a living example of that. And I pray that someone can see and walk in that path. And with that, I say peace.
Praise Allah. So y'all know this show is about celebrating life, the happy parts of your life, the harmonious conditions that you have established for yourself and your family and the brothers and sisters that are around you. So let's show the viewers and tell the viewers some of the uplifting things that have happened to you since you've been in the movement. Like, there's so many things that have happened to me that just continuously keep a smile on my face, that kind of always got me moving and got me excited, because, you know, Allah's in there. So I know you guys got a story that can really connect with the viewers to let them know, like, this is Moorish New Year's Eve, and I'm celebrating life, and I'm celebrating my prophet, because he did this for me. So what did he do? We'll start with you, Sister T. Hopkins Bay.
Islam. Praise Allah. The prophet is so dope. Seriously. First of all, there's never enough praises and honors to give to Allah and the prophet. There's never going to be enough. So when man honors man, man honors Allah. What man does for man, what man does for man, he does for Allah. So praise Allah. For me, I'm just going to share, you know, my situation. Right before I joined the temple, I had gotten myself into some deep stuff. And praise Allah, Sister Greer Ill and her testimony, her demonstration, I said, it has to be something better than this. It has to be. And I started to lean towards just getting out of certain places, starting to get away from certain things. And I just was like, it got to be a change. So taking some time getting into the temple, it took me about 6 months. And, you know, sometimes we get them questions, when you going to join, sis? When you going to join? And it's like, you got to slow walk it. You know, you have to slow walk it, because you have to make sure. And the prophet said he needed strong men and women, though.
Yes.
So to come from a Christian household where you living with your family, and a couple days before Christmas, you tell them that you are no longer participating. That's strength right there within itself, because you know you're going to face a lot of, like, what are you doing? Why are you, you know, doing that? Like, what is wrong? But I had to do what I had to do for myself. So, you know, the prophet helped me to uplift me And therefore, I was able to start my family and have my children raised up in this. And therefore, having them raised with Islam and Islamism, that's the greatest blessing. That's the greatest blessing you can give to anyone. And to have them be happy Moorish American children.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like there's such a peace in that for me, because everyone who has children, you want your children to feel happy, and you don't want them to, want what they see the unconscious world have or want. You don't want them to desire those things. So you want them to be proud of who they are, not calling themselves Negro, Black, and Coloreds, and it's nothing against any other culture or any other race of people, but letting them know that we have our own, and you have to be proud of your own. So for me, those are things that make such a great difference in my life. And so it brings such a joy. And to have a family of our own, have people that look like you, to let them know and that you're not battling this alone. That's major. That is major.
Praise Allah.
Islam, I have to just ask, I just saw a question in the chat, and sisters that have children, the question was, there's some young princesses watching us today, this evening. So first of all, Islam, little sister princesses, I think it's Cafe. Islam. The question is, what advice can we give them on staying focused on their personal spiritual growth? And I had to get that in there because Sister Hopkins, but you were just talking about youth. So I want to make sure we think about, particularly those that are, mothers, or those that mother other children, because many of you have mothered and been like a mentor to other our young Muslim youth. What personal spiritual growth advice would you give them?
Islam. I'd like to speak to that. I have adult children as well as a 10-year-old who's going to be 10 in March, young little Muslim. My advice is to take care of yourself, because when you try to get into relationships and take on more than you can handle, then you think the world being here is just miserable. We're not meant to be miserable people. We are meant to study ourselves, learn your weaknesses, learn your strengths, and build off of the strengths. Because remember, when you're in relationships with other people, you're taking in everything that they have to bring with them and their ancestors. So you're joining a certain energy that it can be very overwhelming. And that doesn't mean you're judgmental. You have to make sure you're strong, because I see with my children, I always say, you draw in people that need your help, but you need help yourself. So the only way for you to help others, you have to help yourself. You have to be the example, figure it out, examine it, experience it, and then you can talk about, well, this is how I worked out being stressed. I worked out my school schedule, work schedule, and I still take time out to meditate. I take 5 minutes a day. It don't take long to just settle your thoughts. This is a thought movement, as I heard everyone speak about the way we think. So if you can change your thinking, you can change your conditions. So be strong in how you think. Move away from those low vibrational thoughts. Get away from vanity. All the materialistic things that you can't afford are going to stress you out. It causes depression. So leave the material things alone and learn to appreciate what you have. That's something that I did also coming in the movement. Well, just recently, I took all my stuff out of storage that was old, put it on the wall, old pictures. I'm used to just buying new stuff. Move that. I don't want that no more. I need another color. I learned to appreciate what I have. Because if I don't have a place for everything to live, then I have too much. And I'm not showing gratitude for what I have. Show more gratitude, respect your parents, be obedient to your mothers and fathers. Find out who you are. Your ancient forefathers practice what they practice. It's not hard. Look into all the prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. Prophet Noble Ali is the last prophet in these days. You have a lot of information. Talk to your big sisters and brothers. They can help you. You see these beautiful sisters here today. Sister Greer, I heard you tell your story before, and you are amazing. You are amazing to even share that. You know, you said I was out of control. And I have daughters who I feel like they need to hear that story. Not that they're out of control, but they have their experiences that will bring them to that place.
It's on.
I have an Aries daughter, and y'all know how Aries fire sign can be. We're like, child, no, you know, but praise Allah that the sisters can share their stories. Take heed to what they are saying. They're sharing their in-depth stories of their experiences in their life. And all you have to do is change the way you think, and you can change your conditions. With that, I say peace.
Islam, Sister Hopkins Bay.
Islam, I just wanted to quickly share, because I do have 4 small children. So I'm constantly encouraging them to let them know that they're leaders. They're leaders. And with that comes a responsibility. And I often ask them, do you want to be a leader? Because see, not every child is going to want to be. They're going to kind of be shy, like, I don't know, you know, because you have to dare to be different. You have to dare to be different. And so I encourage them and let them know that, listen, y'all were born leaders. The prophet has told you that. So therefore, you know, you have to show by example. So how you dress, how you act, how you carry yourself, the words you speak to someone. Listen, there are going to be a lot of influences in your life, but you don't have to go the way that they're going just to be cool or fit in or feel like they're going to be your friends. If you be yourself, you're going to get way more people to like you and want to be around you for you being your individual self and loving yourself. But it starts with you wanting to be comfortable with you. So I camelback with Sister Elberry Bay on that. Peace.
Islam, I'll just add one to that, sis. I totally agree. You took my thought, which was around, you know, the prophet says, so shall he rise like a cedar on the mountains. Mm-hmm. His head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. And when I read that, I have 2 children as well. I said, you know, even the leaders that you see, part of them being a leader is that they are standing in their truth or they're daring to do something different. But when you are in your truth, when you have the ability to learn to know yourself, you know, mommy, I'm working on knowing myself, but you got to know yourself. So part of you knowing yourself is if you're enjoying your art or if art is your thing, go ahead and keep exploring that. That's a gift from Allah. That's a treasure. And be proud of it. Don't hide it. No, let people share it, because you don't also know the power in that gift that you have, what Allah has put in you. And so I think it's important that we allow the youth to get to know themselves and encourage them to know themselves, and to then let them start to see themselves. Because imagine being, you know, so young and you have these lessons, how much of a great leader you will be. So, but it starts with learn to love instead of hate, because you know they got to teach that with children. I got siblings. We talk about that all the time. And knowing thyself and being able to uncover that and guiding them. Peace.
Islam. And Islam, I was just going to take us into the next question that we have. And hopefully this kind of falls in line. In the midst of this great and memorable celebration, what are your plans in developing your spiritual growth and wellness for the year? Well, I guess I'll go. So so for me, my spiritual growth is kind of like what I said earlier, just being closer to God, being closer to Allah, and really understanding that obviously we can't see Allah and you can't see the prophet, but there's attributes and characteristics that they have that are instilled in us, but they're also instilled in others. And I think this is also something for the youth. being really cautious about who's in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Because even for me, I'm older than y'all, older than the youth, but I still am developing myself. I'm still learning who I am. I'm still asking myself, who am I? And when you're asking yourself these questions, you really have to pay attention to what you surround yourself with, because in a way that defines who you are. In some way, we have a higher self and you have a lower self. So no matter who you are, what age group that you are in, you have a tendency to be influenced by what you're constantly around. And so certain things you have to really pay attention to and see, are they serving you and developing your purpose? And I think for me, for my spiritual growth, is trying to see, if I'm saying that I'm a Moorish American and I believe in these teachings, am I really manifesting that in every thought and every act and every deed in my life? And if I'm not, then that's where I need to place where I need to grow at. And I think that's something for any person of any age, brother and sister, something that we should constantly do, just when referring to reflection and self-examination, finding out where you are and where you want to be, and really looking at your surroundings and see if that really is something that you truly want in your life, based on the path that you're striving to go towards. So that's where I'm at.
Islam, could you repeat the question?
Of course. In the midst of the great and memorable celebration, what are your plans for spiritual growth and wellness for the new year? You got some resolutions, Great Eel?
No resolutions.
No resolutions.
I just do. You know, I don't put resolutions on my plate because I just try to walk it. You know, what I want to do is be more understanding, and be more patient. Sometimes I know that, and Sister Hopkins Bay spoke about it. Protecting your peace sometimes can come off as something other than what it actually is. So I want to accommodate myself to all, but I don't want to do so at the extent of letting my flag touch the ground either. I come from a place of noise, and mostly in my own head. So some of those useless and ungainly parts of myself was trying to be a part of everything. Like I used to say, I need to be cloned. I wish it was 2 or 3 of me. That way I can be everywhere. Well, over the last 4 years now, I guess, I've found that where I would really love to be is right where I'm sitting at right now, at peace. I don't feel the need to grab the phone every time it rings. I have learned to turn it off if I don't need the alarm clock. I have learned to, just cut back on some of those things, those worldly things, and focus more on what is going to uplift me. Okay, let me pick up my Quran. Let me read a nice novel. Let me do this schoolwork so that I can, benefit from my right now choices, so that my future can be happy. And in all of that, sometimes people will either stay or people will go. And I just want to be able to stay at peace and practice patience and practice more understanding. I was telling the sister that at 45, I really feel like I am starting to be set in my ways. Because y'all know, I don't like phone calls after a certain time. Well, I needed to do that. I had to do that for certain reasons. And let me just say this, right? This started off with brothers. You know how sometimes brothers call your phone, they think because they're up that you might be up too or whatever. So I had to start this whole thing with brothers cutting their time off from calling, right? You know, that's something big for me. It may be something small to some of y'all, but that's big for me. So I've been on that move for like about 4 or 5 years. And I just adapted to that time, and it's working for me. It brings more it allows me to keep peace when I don't let a bunch of different energy in, you know. So I'm gonna stop right there.
We got you, sis.
I speak to I want to camel walk with Sister Ingrid Ill, because she said that striving to be understood, and like she has this thing where she has to cut it off. Believe it or not, Sister Great Ill, Sister Elberry Bay was the same. Because I have a strong feeling about fairness, and people do mean things, it just rubs me the wrong way. And so I always thought I needed to respond, you know, and but my husband, the way I would respond, it would tear your head off, because I'm just not a mean person. You really took me to a place to result to this action that I'm bringing out that I don't like about myself. So now I have to respond to you, letting you know that that's not fair. I'm not liking it, and you're going to understand why I don't like it. However, my husband said to me one year in that action, he goes, you know, what you don't like about them, you don't like about yourself. I said, excuse me? Are you trying to say that I'm behaving like them? I'm like that person that I don't like? But just recently I had an epiphany when I was reading, when Prophet said how to love and not demand love in return. And I'm like, so I don't have to demand love, I can expect it. I expect love, but I don't have to demand it from you. And at the same time, in seeing, I understood the thought now, in seeing in that person what I don't like about myself, which means I'm not going to behave the way they're behaving. I must show them how to treat me or how to treat others by not responding the way they do. And believe it or not, sister, it works. Because I actually shared it with my dad when we had an ancestral healing last week. And I said, his friend just had a blow up on him. He said, wait till I see her, I'm going to blast her out. You know what he was talking about, right? He was going to use all the profanity in the world. I said, won't you just not respond? He said, what? I'm going to take your advice. My father's over 70 years old, almost 70. And he didn't respond to the person. And he came back to me that very same day and said, it worked. Because when I didn't blast her out, she's like, are you okay? You having a good day? So some people put you in a certain mood for you to respond. They do certain things to you for you to behave in a lower vibration just because they think they can control you, you know? So it's a good thing that you are looking to change the way you know, be understood. But if they don't understand you, that's not your problem. You know, because what I'm seeing displayed here, you're sincere, you're showing that love to your sisters by being straightforward. Look, I do not like the call after time, and we have to accept that. And whoever can't accept that, I don't know what to tell you, but you did it in respect and kindness. And that's what's important. It shows us how to respect your space and you respect others. So, I mean, in my change, I'm going to exercise more for meditation growth. I want to contemplate and adore his immutable perfections, do more social duties, teaching people how to meditate 4, 5, or 7 minutes, even if I have to set up my table outside and say, let's just sit here and be still for a minute. Because I hear a lot of people suffer with controlling their thoughts. They can't quiet the noise in their head. I hear that often. So if we get a group of sisters, we can do it Zoom, just to show people how to quiet themselves. We don't have to do a lot of talking. Of course, we speak the prophet's words, but show how to just meditate, starting with 5 or 7 minutes. So that's what I'm looking to do. More community service and helping in spiritual growth. Peace.
Peace. Islam. And I actually said I want to be more understanding. I think most people have to use the third eye to understand me because I'm a true Gemini. But yeah, I want to be more understanding and practice accommodating myself to all. without letting my flag touch the ground. Peace.
There was some great questions. I was looking at the chat. There was another question about, I'm gonna try to throw it in there. I know we don't have a lot of time, but in celebrating life, what are some of the things from last year that you intended to do or work on that you have accomplished? So I know, Sister Britt Bay, you got a quick thought?
Repeat the question for me again, sis, please.
You got it, sis. In celebrating life, what are some things from last year that you intended to do or work on that you have accomplished? And while you're thinking, I can give my thought real quick. I'll do a quick thought before we end. So something that last year that I intended. So I made a big personal decision to try to see if I can create my own income and take a step and do it on my own. And I've been working since I was like 9 years old, always trying to find jobs, working for somebody. And Allah spoke to me. And 2 years ago, actually, before I even made the decision, and I was getting these jobs, and part of what I do is I help people create their business. I help them do their sales and service. And so companies will call me like, hey, we need to grow our business by 3 times. Can you help do it? And I take the job. And one couple years back, I thought I had this epiphany. I was walking in this market fair, and there was a sign that came and just stuck out to me. And it said, you can either help somebody else create their own dreams or create your own. And I always remember, because I don't know why, out of the hundreds of things that were on the wall, that was the one that it said to me. And I wasn't ready to make that decision then. But I was like, wow, they're hiring me to help make them rich or successful. Can I do that for myself? And it took me 2 years to have that conversation with Allah to do that. And I'm still on the path. But that was what I did last year, was you want to talk about stepping on faith. I'm going through the 3 steps of, I had to believe it. And it took me all last year to even believe, can I do something different and be able to generate income? And do I have the faith? And I would say to that, yes, Allah has showed me so many paths. And I was like, I don't know. But then all of a sudden someone would send you an email and say, hey, have you thought about this? And I'm like, what? No, I haven't. And then opportunities opened up for me, and I just walked through that path. So that has been my look back for 2020. Peace.
Islam. So there's nothing particular that I was working on in the last year that I have accomplished, but I will say this, and this is somewhat of an accomplishment to me, because now since I've been in the movement, everything that I'm learning, I share with friends, I share with my family on a regular. And let me get the gavel. Hold on. Let me get the gavel. So, my family weren't difficult in accepting my change from Christianity to being a Muslim, but they kind of not really clowned it, like when they saw me in my turban and things of that nature. And so it was always in my heart that the more I'm learning, or the more I was learning and being taught about me, about my nationality, I wanted my family to know. I wanted them to be educated. And it was said to me that it was my responsibility to make sure that they know. And so one accomplishment I would say is the last time I was on a show, on the Girl Talk show, one of my best friends called me the next day. And when I came into this movement, she had a lot of questions for me. And a lot of my friends did. And she called me the next day after the show, and she said, Tracy, I want a copy of the Quran. And that blessed my heart, because she and I talk almost like every other day. And at this point, because of how much I've grown in the movement, it's hard for me to have conversation without the lessons coming out. It's a part of me, and it feels good that it's a part of me. I had kind of fell off. I mean, I already had acquired a relationship with Allah before I came into the movement. I was not attending no one specific church, and my spirit was hungry for that, because where I started out learning how to even read the word and apply it to my life, that place had taught me in a way that I was always just eager to learn. And once I left that place, I couldn't find a church that was feeding me that same way. And when I came to the temple, it was like home. It was like a breath of fresh air. So not only did my girlfriend ask me and my mom was just having a conversation about 2 weeks ago. And I talk with her and my dad on a regular. And we sit and we have great conversations. And of course, I'm always sharing with them. And they don't know where it's coming from. But I'm always sharing what I'm learning. And me and my mom was speaking 2 weeks ago. And I had shared something with her out of the Quran. I didn't tell her that's where it came from. I just shared it. And she just stopped me. She said, oh my goodness. She was like, you just blessed me. She said, like, wow, that was powerful. And I was like, well, praise Allah. So we got off the phone. She called me back an hour later. She said, you know what? I love you. And I said, I love you too, Mom. And she said, you know, Tracy, I'm just sitting here and I'm just thinking about what you shared with me. She said, and I had a list of things to do today. But you know what? I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to bask in what you shared with me because that was powerful. So like my spirit was like, oh, yes, this is good. Y'all, my mother called me back again later on. And she said, I want a copy of what that was you spoke to me about earlier. So I said, okay, no problem. I said, Ma, it's actually from the Quran. She paused. She said, okay. I said, Ma, I said, what's in the Quran is nothing that'll change your beliefs that you already have and what you know about Allah. If anything, it's only going to confirm what you already know. But it's even broken down in a whole nother way to the point that it's almost like opening your chest up when you hear it this way because it's meant for you. It's been broken down. The Prophet brought these lessons specifically for us.
Islam.
And this is why when you hear the sound, this is why you feel the way that you feel. But it just blessed my heart. Of course, she was like, well, I ain't call you for all that. You talk too much. Just give me a copy. But that to me was a major, those two things was a major accomplishment because I am being taught that we are not to push our religion on anyone. But I realized that just me being what I know and not being afraid to speak it, and I speak it with boldness.
That's right.
It's touching people. If it don't touch but one, that's a lot to me. That just blesses my heart. So I would say for me, those two are accomplishments because that's all I ever want is the way I'm being enlightened, the way the Prophet is enlightening me. Oh my God, I want everybody that's connected to me. I really do. It's times I want to jump in their body and get it for them, but I know I can't.
Praise Allah. Yes.
That's a major accomplishment for me. It really is. So peace.
Praise Allah. That is so beautiful, sis. That was, I mean, I felt the spirit when you were speaking it. And I think I'm looking at the chat, everybody was responding like, praise Allah.
Yes. Islam.
That was heavy.
That was heavy.
That was heavy. Thank you, sister.
Wow.
So I think we have I think we're close to time. So if Sister Johnson, how you want us to answer different or closing thoughts, how you want us to answer?
Let's just do some closing remarks on how do you guys plan on uplifting fallen humanity in the year to come? And I guess I'll start with myself. And so for me, I believe I'm at the belief stage because I have a true, sincere to strive for purity in life. And I'm trying to stay planted in the faith stage. And I think for me, I'm on the same lines as Sister Ravnoff Bay. I'm trying to do something new when it comes to career and aspirations for life. And this time I'm trying to do it without looking to be rewarded with worldly items, whether it's salary or just basically things. And so I've always had a desire to want to help our people. But as I grew up, it wasn't a thing with my friends. So it kind of just drifted in and out. But I have family, been able to establish myself within a family of Moorish Americans in the Moorish Science Temple America that have the same objective and the same mission. And that's what makes it so much easier in moving forward into the faith stage of saying, I'm going to do this 100% and not worry about the attainments of worldly things. And I think I want to stay on that path of really giving what Allah has put into me. You know, he said, get a good European education and I can use you. And for that, I know I need to be fully immersed in the understandings and the teachings of the Prophet Noble Ali. And that's something that I'm looking to be more founded in, to be able to give more of myself to the movement. So.
Islam. Praise Allah. So for me, I feel like last year, I'm gonna continue to keep doing what I've been doing, which is studying self. I feel as though when you study yourself and consistently study yourself, you're able to stay positive, stay spiritual, stay grounded, stay focused, and you're able to be consistent with others. We're taught that when we're consistent, men will rely upon thee. So therefore, you know, people can look at you and because you never know who's watching, but people are watching you. And when you are consistent with yourself, they're watching. And so a lot of times it was strange to me this year because I felt like a lot of people were coming to me for different things, you know, whether it be, can I leave my children with you, you know, due to the pandemic, or, you know, can you assist me with this, or, you know, just a lot of random things. And I was like really honored that people were asking me to do these things. And my husband said to me, it's because they see you and they see what you do and they see how you are. And so for me, that's what I'm going to continue to do. Continue to strive for purity in life, continue to love myself, love my race, love my people, love the Moorish Science Temple of America, and continue to be a good Moorish American queen. Praise Allah.
Islam. I'm just gonna do more of what I always do. You know, kindness has its own reward. Like, it's just nice to be nice, you know. And I was speaking with the Grand National Secretary how, you know, the only time people will know what it is I'm doing for others is when it's in a collective type of situation. For instance, when the temple gets together and we have an outreach committee and we go out into the community and we serve the less fortunate, I guess I would say. I don't even know if I want to put it that way because I may be less fortunate than them in some ways, you know. But we go out and we feed the community. And the only way someone knows that I do that is when it's like that. But I love to do my best to make sure that my people are okay. Like I said, it's just nice to be nice, you know. When you see someone, our assistant grand sheik, Brother Pete Chase Ill, always says, if you see somebody and they're asking for a couple of dollars, just give it to them. Don't matter what they're doing with the money. It's out. It belongs to Allah anyway. And at first I was like, what? I was standing on my feet all day getting this tip money. But over time, I started to realize what he was saying. Allah gave it to me, and the best way to keep what you have is by giving it away, and after having a like over 3-year span with no income and feeling at my happiest, I was like, you know what? I have a few dollars. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. And it I don't even know if I can put it in words how it's just not me to not be able to do for my people. I don't care what they're gonna do. I remember someone asked me for a few dollars, and it was really cold outside. And the person standing next to me said, "Ain't gonna do nothing but go buy a drink." And I said, "I remember when I wish somebody did this for me when it was cold outside." So.
Praise Allah. Sister Elberry Bay.
Islam. I mean, you sisters, we are bound by course to every other living thing, and every word you speak, I'm resonating with you. So I feel like I will be doing pretty much the same thing I was doing before, assisting as much as I can in different places and with different people. It's an honor to be amongst the sisters right now, because what we are doing is actually serving the community. This is social duties. We're sharing our experiences sincerely, authentically, and I hope that they, can walk away with some answers that can truly help them change and adjust their lives for the better or for the greater good for them, because we're leaving a good name for our future generation. And that's important for us to understand. We're setting a mark. We're blazing the path, if you will. So let us continue to blaze the path. I'm glad to do this work with you all. And with that, I say peace.
Islam. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. We hope that we're able to assist you with the questions that we provided answers to, and that we gave you a perspective of us and how we're celebrating life going into our Moorish New Year. And I just want to give one brief announcement before we close out, that we are definitely celebrating tonight at 11 o'clock. So please join us as we virtually celebrate our Moorish New Year's tonight at 11 o'clock on the Moorish Science Temple of America national Facebook page, where we will have Brother O German Bay, aka DJ OG Wiz, spinning the latest clean music and Moorish music for all of us to celebrate. And the main point of us celebrating our Moorish New Year's is to really come together, although we can't do it in person, is virtually, but to really celebrate our unity and our love. So if you can't come at exactly 11 o'clock, make sure you come at least 12:58, where we all will stand in unison in our own homes, united in spirit, and state our holy covenant of the Asiatic nation in unison. So also keep in mind, we have another celebration tomorrow evening, which is our holy day. So we have our holy day meeting, New Year's Eve style, at 7:30. And we also, as always, have our Sunday school on Sunday at 2 o'clock. All these things are on the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated National Facebook page. And as you know, we do have our shows that will air again in the next 2 weeks. The All Seeing Eye, which is Monday at 7, Universal Love, which is on Wednesdays at 7, and you already know, Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk, Thursdays at 7. So we appreciate you. Thank you for viewing us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Happy New Year, Moor.